Editing Randy here. It is July 31st. This is going to be quick. Most of these clips are from July 15th and on, and then I'll be filming some more stuff today with probably what I'm wearing right now, because I went to a lot of trouble to do things to my face that are not putting on makeup, so it looks better than when I wear makeup. So yeah, we'll leave it at that and get into the clips. So welcome to the Darq Project, and I hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, Randy here. I write under the pen name Miranda K. Darq, and welcome to the Darq Project. A very sleepy, dark project. Today is July 15th. It's like 11 p.m. on July 15th. Cat, what are you doing? Killing me, girl. I had to take the boys back to their dad's this morning, and I went to work all afternoon, evening, however you want to coin it. And then I got home and did some research stuff and some moving stuff around, and oh my good God, things just never end. They never end. We're also going through what has probably been one of the worst heat waves in Washington in quite some time, especially so since I've lived here. We've been here 9 years this year, but the temperatures have been between like mid 80s and low hundreds over the past 2 weeks, and nothing and nobody here is prepared for that. We are not allowed to have air conditioners in our apartments, which is the best. I would say that the slumlords claims that the primary reason for that is because it'll brown out the power grid is probably true, considering the fact that I had a fan in the kids' room, my room, and the living room all accidentally running at the same time because I was coming down to turn off the one in my bedroom after moving into the living room in the morning and hadn't turned it off yet. And all of the lights flickered just from 3 fans running on a day where it was 95 freaking degrees. So that's super fun. But anyway, I am on my bed. I won't say I'm in bed because I'm not going to sleep yet, but I did come down here to stretch out and just not be sitting at my desk chair. And yes, you can see the fairy forest tree behind me. But I have this with me, which you can't tell because the light in here is absolute trash. But this is my everything notebook, and in here I just recently, being a very low grade outliner when it comes to my stories, I usually just go through and typically about halfway through just writing a story, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you know what would make this better? If I kind of sort of planned out the rest of what's going to happen with bullet points and 1 or 2 sentences per chapter so I know what's happening, just to make sure I don't miss things and that everything important is included. And then I watched a video on Sky's channel, which I will link in the description, talking about a video on someone else's channel who I cannot remember the name, but I will also link to that. And it is the 3-act 9-block 27 chapter structure, and I swear I went through and I outlined an entire novel in less than 2 hours. A little bit shook, not gonna lie. It is for the book that I am calling Project Undying, which is a Tomie inspired splatterpunk romance. Yes, all of those things. And Tomie is a manga and anime by Junji Ito, if you're wondering what all that is. So I outlined that whole thing. in less than 2 hours. And now, because my brain always runs multiple stories at the same time, I am going to take book 2 of Song of the Sangomar, which I have kind of sort of partly loosely outlined-ish. And I'm going to go through and give it the same treatment with that structure. Because the first book, as much as I love it, I didn't start really trying to make it have a purpose until about halfway through. Which, if you've read it, you probably will have noticed that, and that is fine. I like that it is very character-driven, rather than, ooh, there's some external big bad that we have to defeat, whatever. You kind of go from the microcosm of being in the Winterborn estate, and then things happen that kind of broaden the world and show you the dangers of the world and whatnot, and all the cool things. So that's where I'm going with that. But I'm going to take what I had for my outline before, and I'm going to do the 27 chapter thing, which then you can always expand it to more chapters if one of the beats or scenes, or however you want to describe it, takes more than a chapter. That's okay. First book was 35 chapters, I think. I have a whole stack of the book right there, and I'm not going to get up and look because it's like 11 o'clock and your girl is done. 35-ish chapters and just over 100,000 words. So if I can get somewhere in that range for book 2, I think that would be good. So there will probably be a few extra chapters added in, but I went through and watched the video for that other person who I can't remember her name. And I just wrote down each of the chapters within the blocks on note cards. And then I did end up going to a website which was linked from her video that kind of explained a few of the beats in more depth, because just looking at it the way that it was, I couldn't quite tell what it was trying to get at for that particular one. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. But essentially, the whole thing boils down to Statius. That's exactly it. Statius. I am words. I write words. And I am a book creating person. Statius. Stasis. Action. React. Repeat. Stasis, action, disruption, however you want to refer to it. And that's kind of what it cycles through in the 3 different acts, which is pretty cool. But I like the way it worked out. There will probably be a few more clips tacked onto this at some point, but right now it is late and I have rambled long enough, and I would like to get this outline started before I totally just zonk out. We shall see. I'm already halfway laying down, so let's be honest, the reality of me being super productive right now is pretty low, but the fact that I've got all this stuff here means I'm going to be thinking about it when I go to sleep, which means my brain will be focusing on it more. Maybe I'll get some clues in my dreams about what to do with things, and if not, it'll be there first thing in the morning when I wake up. And I do have to work tomorrow, but I'm off Wednesday, so I've got time in the morning, though. I don't work until 2:30, so if I don't make any progress with the outline tonight, hit it in the morning with fresh brain. Hopefully. So it is still the 15th, I think. It's not quite midnight yet, but it's close. I got 12 chapters plotted out for book 2 in the Song of the Sangomar series. And Atticus is telling me that it is time for bed, or else. And yes, he's huge. He's like 16 pounds and 3 feet long. He's a big boy. Bed now. For now. And maybe the cats will let me sleep for more than 2 hours at a clip tonight. It's been so hot the past weekish that has not been good. It is July 16th and I just got a box, and this is my treat to myself for earning my first $100 from my book on Amazon. So, do not try this at home, children, especially if you are not adept at using things. And no, I'm not going to be treating myself every small amount of money, but I feel like the first $100 is a significant thing. So, this is part of it anyway. Apparently the other stuff is coming in a different package, which is weird, and that's not what it said. It said that they were all going to be in one thing. So, as much as I love my keyboard, which is this thing right here, I do not like that the spaces between the keys collect everything. I have cats, so there's a lot of fur in there, and I don't like that. I'm pretty good about not getting crumbs and things, but yeah. So I got myself a wireless mechanical keyboard that still does all the light stuff, and it came with a mouse, and it was actually the same price as just the keyboard separately, so I figured, why not? Actually, I take that back. Oh, it is in here. Oh my goodness, it's tiny. Hey, we have a box. Guess what that means? There is a cat. Can you see the cat? I don't know. Yes, you can see the cat. Typical orange behavior. Box has been acquired. So, now that that's stable again, it is all here. I just didn't expect this to be in such a teeny tiny box. So, this box actually contains the keyboard and mouse, and they both have one dongle that connects it to the computer instead of taking up two separate USB things. I hate not having fingernails. My job is just, there we go. Yay! Okay, so, oh, and it came with a mouse pad. That's different. Oh, it's got a wolf on it though. Oh, it's got a wolf on it though. Wolves and tigers is my favorite. So I probably won't use that, but I can definitely give it to Hunter to use with the laptop he uses. So those things. And I'm just gonna plug these in to charge before I leave for work, because I have to go to work quite shortly, and I'm just throwing shit everywhere. It's fine. So that is the new mouse. I didn't even notice that their logo is a wolf. That makes this so much cooler and so serendipitous, because once I make headway, oh, that's nice. Once I make headway with my vampire series, I have an old werewolf series that I used to write under a different pen name that I am going to go back and revise and make readable, because it's been like a decade. Hi, kitty boy. But the other things that I got, which are super cute and totally do not fit my cool goth galaxy girl vibe I got going on, because I am an anime nerd and I like cute things too. These will probably have to open up and air out, and oh yeah, these are gonna have to get some air. So this is a wrist rest for a mouse that looks like a little roll, and like I said, they've been squished in this teeny tiny box, so yeah, it's gonna have to flip up a bit. And this, oh, I'm so pleased with this. I am a ridiculous human and it's fine. So this is a keyboard wrist rest that looks like a baguette. So I've got this cool galaxy setup with all the rainbow flashy stuff and wolves and bread, because carbs. But yeah, so that will be it for now. I'm gonna get all this crap plugged in. I've got about 10 minutes till I've got to leave for work, so I'm gonna let these puff up and we'll see where we're at later in the day, because when I'm done today, I'm actually off tomorrow, so probably update you later this evening, hopefully with a finished outline for book 2 in the Song of the Sangomar series. So it's been a few days. I think the last clip was from Tuesday. It is now Friday, the 19th. So it has officially been a month now since I put out Blood from Stone, and from looking at my earnings this morning, I have earned approximately $112 from it in a month. Now, all of those earnings will not come to me in the same payment because Amazon goes month by month, not it's been X number of days, but this is what you earned in June, this is what you earned in July. But because I released in the middle of the month, I'm counting it as, oh hey, it's been a month, and from day 1 until today, I've made this many dollars. Which is pretty cool. I am sure that that will taper off and fluctuate. I'm hoping that some more people drop ratings and reviews. That would be really cool. People are too afraid to say anything because there is some pretty heavy, spicy stuff. You can always just leave a star rating. And it doesn't have to be a good one. If you didn't like it, it's okay to not like it. You can leave a 1, you can leave a 2, you can leave a 3, I don't care. Because honestly, when I see books that only have like 5-star ratings, they're either super duper amazing or everybody who read it and reviewed is full of shit. I just realized like half an hour ago it's 12:45 right now and I have to leave for work at 2, so I'm gonna make this pretty brief and write for probably half an hour before I go in. I realized I hadn't had any coffee yet, and that's why I was ready to go lay down and take a nap. Yeah, but I didn't get a headache like I usually do when I haven't had my caffeine in the morning, so it's very strange. Anyway, crap, I forgot to grab the lapel mic, so this is probably gonna sound like ass. Oh well, that's what editing is for. Make it sound not quite so garbagey. So I absolutely love the keyboard rest that looks like a baguette, and it actually smells like bread. I don't know how, but it is scented, and so is the wrist rest for the mouse, and they're kind of like stress balls almost, which is really cool. I know, I'm fascinated by silly things, but it's okay. Makes me happy. And I like the keyboard, I like the mouse. They're very quiet after having a super purposefully loud clickety 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 typewriter style mechanical keyboard. This is weird. I had to look at the screen to make sure it was actually typing things because it's so quiet, it just doesn't. But because it is so low pro and smaller, I'm hoping that it will help with some of the wrist fatigue issues that I run into because I use my hands and my arms all day when I'm at regular work. Setup is great. I have part of Blood from Stone up on the screen because I was making promo stuff this morning, so I had to find quotes to grab. So super good news. I have been in a weird outlining mood this week. I completely have Song of the Sangomar Book 2 outlined. Like, 30 whole chapters. I did the thing that I was talking about in the previous clip with the 9 blocks. I think they said it's supposed to be 27 chapters, but the way I did it, because there's going to be 2 groups of people, I kind of did an intro for the one group and then did an intro for the second group, and there's some back and forth between things before they converge. The whole thing is plotted out, and I have it at 30 chapters now. Honestly, book 1 was 37 chapters. I tend to write really long chapters, so if it gets to a point where a chapter is going to be more than like 3,000-ish words, or 3,500 at most, and there better be a lot going on if it's that long. I'll usually find a place to split it, maybe even add in some other things so that the separation doesn't just seem like, oh, scene break, ka-chunk, and put the paper cutter in and move on. But I'm really excited because now I can get started on it. I wasn't planning on getting started on this, but I put a poll up on my Twitter the other day and I was like, oh hey, should I work on Project Undying, my Tomie inspired splatterpunk romance? It sounds so ridiculous when I say it like that. I need to come up with a comp list for Blood from Stone, because I didn't really have any when I was writing it. I just had an idea and ran with it. I didn't say, oh, I'm combining elements from this thing over here and that thing and this thing and this thing and that thing over there. It just kind of happened. So I'm going to have to figure that out, because that seems to be a big marketing tactic that works for people. If you like this, this, and this, then you'll like this thing. Whatever. Yeah, always with the vampires, right? Like, when is it ever not vampires? When it's Project Undying and it's a Tomie-inspired splatterpunk romance, that's when. But anyway, all that to say, I put a poll up on my Twitter, and I will never call it X, it's Twitter. Asked people if I should work on Project Undying, or if I should do an outline for book 2 in my series, and it was close. I think there was only like one more vote for doing an outline for book 2, but I went with it, and I did it, and there's 30 chapters worth of stuff. And I actually kind of went a bit overboard with one character that I've been waiting to introduce for forever, and kind of like halfway wrote a scene with him. Because usually my chapter descriptions are like maybe 2-3 sentences at most, because I'm mostly a discovery writer. People who plan out every single scene, I'm like, that's just not how my brain works. But now I have that in here. And I am gonna go work on that, because I slept like absolute garbage the past couple of nights. And I don't know why. It's actually been cooling down a little bit here during the day, finally, compared to it being, well, I say that, and then this weekend it's supposed to be 90 degrees. But then next week it's supposed to be in like the mid to low 70s, and that's gonna feel amazing compared to like 85 to 95 degrees. And we don't have air conditioning. That reminds me, I need to write that story idea down in my notebook, and maybe I should outline that book too, since I'm in an outlining mood. Maybe that's what I should do before work. Instead of trying to write for an hour, maybe I should outline that other book. That will actually be a standalone romance with alpha, beta, omega dynamics. Yeah. My brain has just been on it the past couple of weeks. I don't know if it's because things are dying because it's so hot and my brain cells are fusing together and coming up with these ridiculous combinations of things. But essentially this other book that I came up with the idea for is, like I said, alpha, beta, omega dynamics. No mpreg though. I'm not gonna yuck anybody else's yum, but as somebody who's been pregnant twice, nah man, that's not me. Actually, well, no, I don't want to say that because that'll ruin a thing, spoil a thing that's in Blood from Stone. So maybe after it's been out for a few months, I will reveal that aspect that tends to be common among my female main characters in my romance novels. But that story is, I haven't decided if the characters are shifters or if they're werewolves. I'm thinking shifters of some sort, just because I don't like contemporary. That was my first thought when I came up with it. There was no paranormal element, and I don't like contemporary. I just don't. People can like their realistic all they want, but with the experiences I have had, I feel like romance in and of itself, the way that we portray it, is so unrealistic that we shouldn't make it seem like it can be attained in the form that we put it on the page, because it is fantasy, because the woman actually enjoys it and gets hers, and that's not how life really works. That's why it's fantasy, it's fiction. But anyway, so I'm gonna have so many but anyway so's to cut out of this last clip, so I'm gonna try and cut this kind of short, because this thing's gonna end up being about half an hour long after I edit out all of the pauses and the hems and haws and the shit. Alpha, beta, omega dynamics, possibly shifters. Female main character is a physical therapist that has been hired to travel with an idol group. Think like K-pop style stuff, you know, guys who sing and dance and all the fun things, because that is really physical work, and they get injured and it impairs their ability to perform, which is their job. So she is hired to stay on with this one group in particular that's really popular at the time, and has all sorts of weird interactions with them. And it's going to be a slow burn because I don't want it to be super duper romantic, but I do want the interpersonal relationships that she develops with... Did I decide it was 4 or 5? I didn't write that down, did I? I'll have to look back through my chat I was having with my one friend about it. He knows what's up. He's the only person that I talk to about my ideas before they actually become things, because he's not an author, but he is a reader, and I know that he's not gonna steal my shit. But anyway, there's 4 or 5 guys in the group. I haven't decided how many yet. This is going to be a why choose romance, but it's not gonna have like 7 guys in it like Blood from Stone does. And also like another series that I started, I planned to have 7, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, maybe with that other one, if I do a book for each guy, as she gradually accrues them, it won't be so sudden. We'll see. But that's just my poly heart being happy at the idea of not only having one person love you for who you are, but having multiple people love you for who you are. Again, it's fiction, because realistically, who actually does? Sorry, I'm being cynical today. I'm really tired. There are several character types in the idol group. You've got the super hot, lanky, primarily dancer type who's kind of bitchy. Like, he just has mean girl vibes and does not get along with the PT at all. They are very much all the delicious friction. And there's another one who's the leader, and you know, he's the mellow, laid back, calm one that's almost like a father figure in the group. And then there's another one who's the primary rapper, and it's like this whole thing. And it may or may not have something to do with the fact that I am absolutely obsessed with Stray Kids lately, and they just put out a new album yesterday called 8, and it is amazing. It is so good. And their new video, Chick Chick Boom, has not only Hugh Jackman in it, but also Ryan Reynolds. And if you didn't know, Stray Kids has a song that's going to be on the Wolverine and Deadpool soundtrack. Pretty awesome. So it's not fan fiction, but it is inspired by life. Art is inspired by life in this instance. But I have a lot of things that just popped into my brain about a few interactions in particular in there that are going to be really good, that I think is going to make people who like more traditional romances that don't focus so much on all of the other parts of the world, I think it will make them happy, and I am planning to have it be a standalone. And if I like writing it enough and it does okay-ish, I might end up doing more in that vein. We shall see. I have a book. And if you do not have this book, you should grab this book. That is all there is to it. Links are in the description if you're interested, and I will catch you all in the next vlog. I'm gonna try to get back to doing maybe like every other week vlogs. We shall see. So until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.